Sorry about that. I was all tangled up in strings. But now I'm free. Welcome to Countdown to Infinity War.
Countdown to Infinity Wars. Countdown to Infinity Wars. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Countdown to Infinity War, where I'm watching all 17 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies leading up to the release of Avengers Infinity War, coming out worldwide April 27th. This week, it's Age 11, Week of Ultron. No, sorry, it's Week 11, Age of Ultron. So if you've been watching these movies, you'll know that what I've been trying to do is break down the timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and trying to work out if it actually does make any sense as I'm watching these movies in the countdown. Most of the later Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, they all seem to be kind of taking place, generally they're set over a week, and Age of Ultron isn't really any exception. Generally start to finish, it's all the main part of the film is taking place over approximately about 10 days. But if we want to see actually where these 10 days goes, we have to go and have a look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline, which is just over here. Okay, here we are at the moment as it stands, and all the way up here, at the very top, is Avengers Age of Ultron. So, this is where it gets a little bit iffy, to be honest. So, at the end of the film, they're at the new Avengers facility. It's a few months on from the events of Sokovia. We know this because Barton's baby is now born, and they mentioned earlier when they were at Barton's house that it was going to be a few months before the baby's going to arrive. So it must be now a few months on. They've moved into the Avengers facility, and Tony Stark and Captain America are having this exchange, and Captain America says to Tony Stark that he went into the ice 75 years ago. Now, if you're taking that at pure face value, what we've already worked out is that Captain America went into the ice around about 1944, 1945. But then he says that he's been in the ice for 75 years. So that would mean that he's been in the ice for 75 years. So that would mean that it would be 2020 would be the events of Age of Ultron. And this got me thinking, is that actually right? And I don't know. So I'm going to stick with that and sort of see how this sort of pans out. Is it actually true? Have all the events after this point taken place in the future? I don't know. So I'm going to stick with this. This does confuse a lot of matters. For one thing, we established that Captain America the Winter Soldier takes place in 2013. So I'm just looking at the timeline over there. That took place in 2013, which means that they've been looking for Bucky for 7 years. That doesn't make sense. Also, that Thor, when he comes back and he's talking about Infinity Stones, he's saying that there have been several Infinity Stones, 4 Infinity Stones turned up in the last few years. Well, no, actually, there's been several Infinity. If it's 2020, then several Infinity Stones have appeared in the last 10 years, because the Avengers took place in 2010. I mean, it's all very vague, I suppose. There's nothing that kind of holds it down, and so you're just kind of going by what people are talking about. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, next we're looking at Ant-Man next week, which will be interesting. It'll be a nice break, and it'll be interesting to see has a sort of a standalone movie after all the other stuff that ties in quite heavily. How much this one will affect the timeline. Yeah, but that's everything for me. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.